right, here's a question for you. What is the net worth of your network? You know, as we think about networking, right, in the professional world and even in our social circles, we have a network of people that we connect with, right? Some naturally through, growing up or early in our careers. And people always talk about the value of networking. And often, Leanne, I have encountered executives going through a period of transition. They say, I really haven't nurtured my network.
Yeah.
I really need my network right now. And I've realized I've underinvested in it. And when we're talking about your net worth of your network here, we're not talking about the monetization, of this network and how much money can I extract out of my network. It's really the social and human capital that we're talking about here and building up that value. And importantly, just like investing financially over the long term, it's critical that you do small amounts of investment over long periods of time to amass the net worth that is huge over time and incredibly valuable. And it's also one thing the government can't tax. And it has incredible value. So the question becomes, how do you go about thinking about building the net worth of your network? So for Leanne, how has it been for you?
For me, I think, Rick, I approach connections with my network from an attitude of service and ideation. So how might I serve those that I'm connected with, even in some small way? And oftentimes it's linked to ideation. How might we be thought partners for one another? How might I prompt or stimulate a question that then leads to some other discovery? And, your point around regularly investing, I think, is a good one, because we can get so busy that we fail to take that time, and we might talk ourselves into believing, I don't have time for a very long ideation session or helping someone out for, an hour and a half at a time kind of thing. But in actuality, it might be a very small deposit of, hey, was thinking of you when I saw this. And this question really struck me as a powerful question to ask with regards to the project that you're working on, for example, right? And then you text or email that off, or a quick little call on the way back from a trip or something. And how much investment time or how you approach that. I've always thought of the research from Adam Grant, professor at Wharton. Some of you may be familiar with his book, Give and Take, which was published a number of years ago. But essentially, it looked at across, I think, 6 different domains of success. Which of the following kinds of personalities or characteristics are most successful in these various different domains of life? And one is a giver, as the name would imply. It's someone who's proactively looking to give and support others through service or connection or ideation, something. Taker. This is, in my mind, the person when I was raising my girls I would always offer to, pick the girls up after a dance class or the baseball, whatever kind of practice. The taker's like, no, it's okay. You can go ahead and do that, right? They're not necessarily going to offer. And the matcher is the third one, who sort of, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, basically kind of keeping score. Okay, let's see. I picked up from the baseball practice 3 times. Now it's her turn to pick up 3 times or whatever. And so the question is, which of those 3 personality types or profiles, essentially, is most successful? Can you guess? Do you have a thought? Well, it turns out the research shows that the giver is actually the most successful in all these different domains of success. But here's the catch. The giver is also the least successful. Why? Well, I'm sure some of us have found ourselves in times where we have given and given and given to the point of feeling depleted, where we didn't have boundaries around how much giving happened, and therefore we were over giving, feeling a little bit like a doormat or used versus, having a healthy kind of boundary. And so some of the lessons here are not just for networking, but how might we give without over giving, right? How might we come from a place of service and ideation, but then, have some boundaries around how much we can afford to give. And that's both a time as well as an energy sort of assessment. So that's a little bit of how I think about it and try to stay in a healthy practice and balance, so that I'm really driving some value for others along the way, but I'm not depleting myself in the process.
Yeah, wonderful. Right. And as I've thought about, networking, I love the way Adam Grant has framed that out and the research behind that. And beyond giving, which I totally related to, similar to you, I wanted to be a connector. Like I wanted to not just have a network of everybody that was like me.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a network of folks that had some connection, but had vast other experiences and backgrounds in history that were quite different, but we were connected. So I think of this as more Olympic rings, where you have their interconnected rings. And, I'm one ring that's trying to connect other rings to each other. And the value and the power of being able to reach across a very diverse, group of people in the network, to me is hugely valuable. I find that valuable, and I find it valuable as I connect others, that are looking for something, right? And they're tapping into me, and I'm happy to do that and very grateful that I've been able to build that. And so I think the question for those watching is, how are you currently investing in building the net worth of your network? And if you're like many, you're maybe not spending as much time as you should. And as Leanne mentioned, it doesn't take a lot of time. It's just small bits of time over long periods that are really going to create that value for yourself and for those that you serve in the network or that you can help, over the course of your personal and professional career. So we hope this has been helpful to you, and we invite you to think deeply about what is that strategy and put it into practice.